All right, wanted to give some thoughts here as the WNBA regular season has wrapped up. We got the playoffs starting tomorrow for those Padre fans. I know it's mainly a Padres show. I will get back to that tonight. Padres Rockies, don't worry. But just wanted to get this out there. The Spark season is officially over. They ended it theirs, wasn't able to make the playoffs, but the Atlanta Dream and the Minnesota Lynx will be in the playoffs, and those are going to be two tough teams to get out. I think the Minnesota Lynx are the favorite to go win the entire thing. The Las Vegas Aces, you could make that argument as well. They've won, 16 in a row to finish off their season. That was nuts how that happened. I know that they have a great coach. They've obviously got Asia. They've got Chelsea. They've got Jackie. They had Jewel Lloyd that they were starting, and then she ends up coming off the bench, and just the talent they have. I get it, but 16 in a row, that's impressive. But let's start with the two playoff teams, and then I'll get to the Sparks with them not making it. The Atlanta Dream, as they enter the playoffs, as you could see, their record 30-14. They are the 3 seed, so that means that they will face off against the Indiana Fever. There are no buys, so it's just 1 versus 8. It's like the NWSL playoffs, 1-8, 2-7. So the playoff matchups, as you can see down below, you got 1-8, the Lynx and the Valkyries. You've got the Mercury and the New York Liberty. You've got the Dream and the Fever, and you've got the Aces and the Storm. All 4 games, game ones, are tomorrow. I believe the order of those games, I believe it's the Minnesota game, and then it's the Atlanta game, and then it's the New York game, and then it's the Vegas-Seattle. I know Vegas-Seattle is the nightcap, and then the New York game's at 2. But yeah, so that's what it's looking like. As for the Atlanta Dream, Tina Paopao is someone that going into the year, I didn't know how much of a role she was going to have, how big of a role, I should say. I know she was going to have a role, but how big of a role. But yes, it's up and down in terms of minutes, but like last game that they played, I know that they're already in and they were playing Connecticut, but she played over 30 minutes. I would not expect that, obviously. I would expect more the 20-minute range for her. But playoff basketball to be playing like 20 minutes, that's still Atlanta saying, nope, Tina Paopao, that's an impactful player for us. And she is. Like, she can shoot. She's one of those, provides the energy, obviously. And so that team, the talent that they have with BG and Alicia Gray is, I don't think she's underrated in the WNBA. But if you ask a casual fan that's just popping in, Alicia Gray's not, someone that they immediately would bring up. But obviously Ryan Howard, Bree Jones, like they've got some talent on that squad. So I don't think that they're going to go win it all, but they're a team that I think maybe people will underestimate based on their history. Not based on this year's team, but more like, oh, they just see the Atlanta Dream and they're like, oh, they're not going to win because it's the Atlanta Dream. Where if you look at the Las Vegas Aces, you'll be like, oh, it's the Aces. They have the history of winning. Even though they did not get off to a great start. Now they're the best team in the WNBA right now, the way that they're playing, obviously. So things can change there. But yeah, Atlanta starting off against the Indiana Fever in terms of their ability to win this series. Yeah, I think they're going to win that series. Indiana, and it's unfortunate, it sucks because what we wanted, I think what a lot of basketball fans wanted was to see Caitlin, to see Sophie Cunningham, to see their entire team be healthy and go up against the Atlanta Dream, go up against whoever would have been the first round matchup, because I guarantee you the Fever would have had a better record than where they finished if they would have had Cece healthy, if they would have had Sophie, if they would Sydney Colson, another one. Like, they were really battered with injuries, and so that sucks because Aaliyah Boston's taken a step forward, and I feel like it's just like a wasted year for the Fever because of those injuries. So I do think Atlanta will get past the Fever. And by the way, the format for the first round, the playoff, I should say this, the playoff format has changed a little bit. The WNBA Finals, is finally going to be a best of 7. the semis, best of 5, and the first round is the best of 3. And what I like is they're rotating the sites. So game 1, best record, they get the home game. They get game 3. What it used to be is they got the entire series. It would be 1, 2, and 3. So, like, for example, the Fever last year, I remember this being a big deal because they didn't get a home game. They were playing the entire series in Connecticut. Um, yeah, don't love that, obviously. I think if you make the playoffs, you should at least get one home game to reward the fans. And like the Golden State Valkyries, for example, they're not going to beat Minnesota, but that's going to be awesome that they get to have a home playoff game. Same thing for obviously Atlanta, Indiana. Not going to be the same, obviously, with Caitlin not playing, but I like that every market still gets at least that one home game. I think that's how it should be for sure. So Atlanta, in terms of how far they can go, I'm just looking at the matchup here, and let's say Vegas beats Seattle. I think the Vegas would beat Atlanta. I think we're looking at a Minnesota or New York, because I think they stay the same side of the bracket. Minnesota, New York semi, and then Minnesota, Vegas final. The way things look now, I'm a big Sabrina fan, and I'm not going to count out the Liberty. Like, they've got a lot of talent. I think a lot of it depends on Jonquel Jones and how she's going to play. Like they win when she has, I think, double double, like all the time. So that's going to be key for them. But unexpected things can happen, especially in these short series. But Atlanta, in terms of with Tina Pau and what's going to happen there, I would expect like 15, 20 minutes from Tina Pau, and then a first round series win, but then they're not going to win beyond that. But for the Dream, like, that's a big step forward. The Atlanta Dream, they are not a team that you ever think of like, oh yeah, one of the best teams in the league. No. So they're definitely taking steps forward here this year, regardless of what happens. So we'll see about that. As for Minnesota Lynx and Dejanay Carrington, obviously I'm going through the San Diego players, 3 San Diegans, Pau, Carrington, and KP. Dejanay was with the Dallas Wings. Wings stunk it up this year. There's been a lot of criticism on their head coach, Chris Kofanis. Paige Beckers, there's been some videos of, Paige's reactions on the bench and during timeouts and when the coach is trying to talk to them. It seemed like it was a little bit of a mess there. Dejanay gets out. She gets to go to the best team in the league. And she's going to get a shot to win a title. And if you're her, that's all you can ask for, at this point. Like, one of the best defenders in the league, one of the more valuable. She's not someone that you think of immediately when you're like stars of the league, faces of the league, anything like that. But she's a really good player. And for Minnesota to have her, and then obviously they have Fee coming back, already come back. They obviously dealt with the injuries there. But to have that complement of pieces, to have Courtney Williams, Alana Smith, I mean, Kayla McBride is, I don't think she's underrated in the WNBA, but casual fans, that's not someone that you bring up. She's one of the better players in the league, one of the best shooters in the league. So they have a really good roster. They've got a Hall of Fame coach in Cheryl Reeve. So they're going to be a very tough team to take down. And Dejanay is going to be a big part of it. Like, Minnesota prides itself on defense. And you add someone like Carrington, like they did earlier this season. And for me, I was just like, I know that the Fee injury happened and it was kind of the same time. And I was like, oh, okay. Good thing that they added Dejanay. But now with the full complement of the pieces, I'm like, oh, that is a scary team. That is a team that no team wants to be playing in the playoffs. 20-2 at home. So that 1 seed, yeah, that's gonna be pretty big for them, I would think. So they're a fun team. For anyone that hasn't watched Minnesota Lynx basketball this season, I definitely recommend that you tune into those playoff games because and even that first round series, them and Golden State. Like, that's going to be a pretty entertaining series, I think. Like, Golden State, they have Coach of the Year. I think it should be Coach of the Year. Natalie Nakase. And that's a team, by the way, that lost some of their better players due to injury. But expansion team, first year, obviously they got great crowds at Chase Center. And then Minnesota Lynx fans, like, they show up for sure for their team. So I think that's just going to be a really good atmosphere series, if that makes sense, between both teams. Minnesota, though, will win that series. I would be shocked if they did not. I would be shocked, not shocked, because I do think the Liberty are a really good team. I would be surprised if they don't make it to the WNBA Finals. Um, Jeez, that New York Minnesota series though, that's going to be must watch just to get to the finals. And then I'm hoping Vegas is the team that ends up being in the final. Seattle would be interesting too, but I don't think that they would be able to consistently go after Minnesota or New York and knock them down like that. So I'm thinking that it would be Vegas on that side of things, but we'll see. But yeah, Minnesota, like, they got out to such a great start, and Fee definitely has the MVP. I'm not going to say locked up, but she definitely has a case for MVP. There are others, obviously, that are like, well, they were healthy, or like Asia. I mean, they won 16 games in a row to end the year, and they're the freaking 2 seed. Like, if Asia wasn't on the team, what would they have been? What would that have looked like, right? And you can make the argument, well, with Fee and the Lynx, they were already really good. They played well even without her, but you still look at the numbers, and she had, what was it? I'm probably botching this, but a 50, 40, 90 season, I think. Second or third player in WNBA history to achieve that. So she definitely still has the numbers on her side. I do think the injury might hurt her, but we'll see. Absolutely love watching Fee play as well. All right. Final squad to get to of the San Diegan players. Covered the Dream, covered the Lynx, and now to the Sparks. This is a team that, I hate LA teams. And obviously it's mainly the Dodgers and the Chargers. I don't really follow the NFL anyway, but it's anyone who's playing the Chargers, I root for that team. But I'm not watching the games because I just don't really care that much. But when it comes to WNBA, it's kind of my exception. I was not a Sparks fan, and I don't even know if I want to say I'm a Sparks fan because I do root for players in the WNBA. Like, I want Dejanay to do well with the Lynx, and if they win a championship, that'll be great. Love Sabrina with the Liberty, so if they win a championship again, that would be great. Um, the exception with the Sparks is when Kelsey Plum, however long she plays for the Sparks, that's where the exception is for me right now because she is a heck of a player to watch, number one. And she's from San Diego. Her brother works for, I think, the Oceanside Fire Department. Like, there's San Diego connections all over the place. Her dad went to my high school. So, like, and then I think he went to San Diego State as well. So she's someone that, like, I love watching play, and just seems like she's a great human being as well. Got to take a picture. Everyone, I remember this when she was with Darren Waller, 2022 postseason Padres Dodgers. Everybody wanted Darren Waller's picture or his autograph in that tunnel area there by the Padre dugout. I didn't. I did not care about Darren Waller to be honest. I was the only one that asked for Kelsey, and I'm like, Kelsey, because I wanted to get a picture with her and got that. So that was a really cool moment. Really nice human being. And I was really hoping, like, first year here with the Sparks, it's the closest team to the area as well. So that's kind of where the exception is for me, especially when it's KP playing for the Sparks. And so I was watching more of their games, tuning in, seeing how she was doing. Obviously, great start to the year. Comes over from the Aces, by the way. And she wanted to, like, prove that she could steer the boat, if that makes sense, like, be the captain of the boat instead of being maybe the fourth option on the Aces. and she's already won championships. Like, there's something else that she wanted to do. And the Sparks, like, they don't have a long-term permanent facility. It's not the Aces. It's a different situation. New head coach that was coming in. So, not as good of a team. So, there were some things there that she took on and was like, no, I want this challenge. And they almost made the playoffs. Um, I've been watching some of the end of season Sparks press conferences, and you got the GM and you've got Lynn Roberts, the head coach, saying like essentially it's not a fail. The season wasn't a failure. There was success. And what I will say there is like, to me, if you're gonna ask Kelsey Plum deep down if this season was a failure, she probably would say yes. Because that's who she like. She's a competitor. She came to go bring them to the playoffs this year. There's steps in the process, but bring them to the playoffs. And it didn't happen. Were there injuries? Yes. Rakia Jackson was a key injury. They didn't have Cameron Brink all year. She had to come back, I think, mid-season, right? There were injuries there. And so it's one of those what ifs. What if everyone was healthy? Ray Burrell was someone that was hurt as well. What if they were healthy? What would that team have looked like? Would they have made the playoffs? They played in a lot of close games down the stretch. A lot of close games. What would have looked like? You know, they the Valkyries as that 8 seed, 2 more wins than LA did. But it got off to such a great start against the Valkyries, obviously, with Kelsey Plum, dropping, I think it was over 40 points in the opener. And I'm like, oh wow, all right, this is gonna be fun. And it was pretty fun this season watching them play. But there were also games that you see and it's like, dang, probably should have won that game. And you missed the playoffs by a couple of games, and you go look you go look back at those, obviously. I think looking back at it and what needs to improve, it's like, yeah, the defense got to get better. I'm always going to remember post game. I forget exactly what game it was, but KP was talking to the sideline reporter, and I forget if the question was like what needs to improve, but even if it wasn't, KP brought it on herself and was like, "We need to play some effing defense." Maybe it was the halftime interview then. I don't know, but um, she was just like, essentially, I'm not quoting her, but this defense is terrible. We need to play some effing defense. And I love that. Like, she was just being blunt and honest about it, and that's who she is. And so, gotta love that. But like, yeah, they know the defense got to be better. And so, what's is it going to be bringing in players? Like, that's going to be what's so crucial. And it's weird because there are building blocks. Obviously, they have Kelsey. There's Rakia Jackson. There's Cameron Brink, Azare Stevens. I don't know if Stevens is going to be a free. Like, pretty much the entire league, almost the entire league is going to be free agents coming up with the new CBA. So, what will this team actually look like next year? I assume KP, staying. Um, what are they going to do around her? Is it bringing in some of the best defenders in the league? How will they convince those players to go sign with the Sparks instead of signing with the Lynx or the Liberty or the Aces or Indiana, right? With CC coming back next year. Like, how are you going to convince those players to come play for LA when you miss the playoffs this year? Would players want to go play for Golden State over LA? I'm biased, but me personally, I would want to go be a teammate of Kelsey Plum's because I know that she's going to bring it every day and she has a high standard and she's going to compete every day. Didn't have a lot of practice time, as Lynn Roberts would say in her press conferences this year, but I would be like, when they did practice, I'm sure Kelsey Plum brought it each and every day. And she's going to raise the level, and you're going to get better as a player if you come play for LA. Like, I think that's how I would pitch it. I would be like, there were injuries this past year. We've got a good core of players. We add you to this. Lynn in her second year as a head coach, like, it's only going to get better from here. Um, I think that's how you could sell it, being with the Sparks, and you could help get the Sparks back to being what they once were, which was one of the better franchises in the league. So for me, was it a successful season for Kelsey Plum individually? She probably would still say no because it's about the team. But you look at her numbers, and I thought she was going to finish top 5 in the MVP this year. Don't know. I don't think that's going to end up being the case, but it'll be top 10. Um, less than 20 point, 19 and a half points per game is what she finished with. 3.1 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 42.2% field goal percentage. Um, 3-point percentage was a little bit lower than her career average. She got off to a really good start, and then it wasn't as like if I look at the scoring, let me look at the scoring. Sorry, not 40 in that opener. 37 points in that opener. But it was a lot of almost 30-point games. And then there was a stretch there where there weren't a ton of games where it was over 20 points, and it's not all about scoring. I understand that. But I'm just looking at this here in June. 13 points against Vegas, 20 points, 15, 20, 21, 22, 13, 20, 17, 23, 20, 11, and then boom, up to 30. But I mean, you look at these points, like really actually when I look at this, what probably hurt was 3 consecutive actually to finish out the season. I know they were eliminated before this last game, but less than 20 points in 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 of their last 9, I think. 7 of their last 8, less than 20 points. So that obviously hurts when you gotta go win those games. And to be fair though, like the point differential, lost by 11 to Atlanta, lost by 19 to Atlanta. Last game of the year, whatever. Like their season was over. Um, but I mean, look at the close losses this year from them. Indiana lost by 1, lost by 8 to Phoenix, lost by 8 to the Liberty, lost by 5 to Phoenix to start out, or to Phoenix to start off June. Lost by 6 to Atlanta early in the season, lost by 3 at Phoenix early in the season. And KP, there were a lot of games where she played 40 minutes or close to 40 minutes. So she's already one of, if not the best conditioned players in the league. I hope that next year, with more talent they bring in, that the minutes can be a little bit more favorable. I hope the schedule can be a little bit more favorable, to be quite honest. Like there weren't very many off days to end the season for them. I think it was 8 games in 14 days, and it was a lot of playoff teams. So we'll see what happens schedule wise. But yeah, just getting back to like KP's first season, I think it was strong. She probably could say it could have been stronger in some areas. Um, and ultimately, if you ask her lie detector test, she'd say this season wasn't successful because like her goal was to help bring this team to the playoffs, back to the playoffs. And what she would probably say is, we let an expansion team get in the playoffs over us. And that's not going to be something that's going to, just go away in the offseason for her. No, that'll probably be something that sticks with her for sure. So not that she needs any motivating. But yeah, I think it was a good step. Like I can agree with some of the stuff the Sparks are saying about there were some positive steps, right direction, all that stuff. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, yeah, total success. No, that they didn't make the playoffs. Like for me, that was the bar there. Like make the playoffs. All right, success. I wasn't saying go win playoff series. No, just and they just missed out on the playoffs. So it sucks. But um, KP coming to LA, it definitely made things more interesting than her staying in Vegas. So yes, I was definitely more not more interested. It was it was something I don't know. I don't know how to phrase it. More paying attention to, like, oh, this is a really intriguing story to watch. Because I was still watching Aces games when KP was with Vegas. But we knew like that's a playoff team, that's a WNBA finals contender. Like, yeah, we know. With the Sparks, it was a no, let's watch this team because don't really know what's gonna happen. How many minutes is KP gonna be playing? Oh, the whole game? Oh, 47 minutes in one game, in that Seattle overtime. Okay. And so we'll see if that's going to continue next year. I'm really interested in seeing what their offseason is going to look like and the offseason in general in the WNBA because of the new CBA. And will there be a lockout? Hopefully not. But yeah, that's what I've got. Again, KP's totals for the year 19.5 points per game, 3.1 rebounds, 5.7 assists, 4.2 win shares this season. In comparison, Dejanay Carrington, 0.3. These are totally different players. Tina Paopao, 2. She finished 5.8 points per game, 1.6 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 43.8% field goal percentage. Dejanay, 9.8 points, 4 rebounds, and 1.5 assists. 38.6 was the field goal percentage. But the Dream and the Lynx, two good teams. I think the Lynx have a better shot of winning the whole thing, obviously. But yeah, WNBA playoffs start tomorrow. All 4 games tomorrow. Can't wait. It's going to be fun.